Happy to have everybody. Today we're talking about copywriting. We have some amazing people in here. And it seems like everybody, kind of identifies that copywriting is still a very necessary part of marketing. And this group, I'm sure, will agree that's the foundation of marketing. And
100%.
If nothing else, it's one of the very first types ever in the history of humanity. So you got to know it, and it still matters, even if you have AI and you're cheating by using AI. No, I'm just kidding. We teach that
100%. Not cheating, just enhance, empowering.
There you go.
Yeah.
Optimizing, whatever you want to call it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. We'll go ahead and launch into it. We have a ton of awesome content and discussion to have. If you do have questions, please use the Q&A tool. If you do have comments, go and use the comments section. This could be, a lot of us will ask questions and say, hey, for yes, press 1, for no, say 2, and we'll kind of assess there. It's going to be very dynamic, and we'll try to make it flow. But anytime you have a comment, please share it. We love hearing feedback and all of your ideas as well. But if you do have a specific question from us, we'd really appreciate if you use the Q&A tool specifically. If we don't answer the questions, we will try to answer it later on. So be sure to follow us on all the things, Facebook, LinkedIn. We do a lot of follow-up there. So stay tuned. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just your host today. We have the copywriters. I do write, but I don't actually consider myself a professional copywriter, because you have people like we have today, like Matt Swan, Ryan Deiss, Jon Benson, and Christina Marie, who are going to be answering some questions in regards to copywriting and marketing. So I'll go ahead and switch it over to our head of growth, Matt Swan, who's going to take it away and do some copywriting talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Really happy to be here today and chatting with y'all, getting all your questions answered. But first, I kind of want to introduce who's here on the phone or here on the call with us today. So really what we want to do during this call is get any question answered that you have and what it means to become a six-figure copywriter. That's what we're talking about here. How do we really turn copywriting into a career? And for a lot of people, how do we turn that into our business and help our business grow? So we're gonna have a lot of great people on here answering your questions, a lot of expertise in copywriting. So send away, because we'd love to get them all answered. But first, let me introduce who we've got joining us today. So first, kick things off with Jon Benson. Jon is the creator of copypro.ai. He's also best-selling fitness author and recognized as one of the top copywriters and sales copy strategists in the world. He's the creator of the video sales letter, which ushered in a completely new form of selling on the internet. His now VSL video sales letters have generated over $12 billion in sales across hundreds of businesses for entrepreneurs, as well as 1.2 billion in sales specifically for his customers and clients himself. He is by far one of the most successful copywriters in history for us. He's also a pioneer in the AI space for copywriting. I know a lot of you guys are gonna have questions about AI and how that fits into copywriting. Jon is a pro for sure. His copypro.ai came out in 2016, and his new ChatGPT copywriting solution, BNS and Benson, is due to come out in 2023, really seeking to revolutionize the quality of AI copy output using primarily cut and paste method that borders on insanity. Jon, anything I've missed that you'd like to add for the people here?
No, it's pretty long-winded. I appreciate it. That's awesome. I should trim down my own bios.
It's all good.
Man, I will
say, to know what you're doing.
I will say that, and I brought this in the chat, I think the 12 billion is a gross underestimation of the actual revenue that has been generated by the video sales letter. And a lot of you would say, like, really, this guy actually kind of invented that? Yes, absolutely. And I can say that because I got a lot of credit for inventing it, because I kind of helped to, popularize it, did my best to give Jon credit for teaching me about it. And still I got credit. I was like, nope, that was Jon Benson. And so I can think of a couple of brands, like 2 or 3 brands just offhand, that just those 2 or 3 brands at least generated $12 billion. And I know it extended beyond those. So Jon Benson, kind of a big deal, y'all, kind of a big deal. And he's a looker too. And also plays a mean bass.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, Jon, I got to admit, there's one of your books. I've got it here, actually. Open, click by. I think this goes back to 2014-ish. when you came out with this. I've been lugging that around with me, and still to this day, quite literally, I was working on an email campaign last week, and I opened it up because I remembered one of the click campaigns you set up in there. It was the video preview, and for some reason it wasn't clicking. Seen it plenty of times, but I needed a quick refresher, so popped open the book. That book has made me and the companies that I work for a lot of money. So I just wanted to share that, and thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, also joining us today is Christine Marie. She's CEO and founder of The Knowing Agency, where she focuses on empowering executives and organizations with the knowledge necessary to position their corporate and personal brands with authenticity in order to establish an emotional connection with their target audience. She has led communications for Amazon inaugural event in DEI, trained entrepreneurs in Honduras in partnership with USAID International Program, and guided marketing initiatives and storytelling on behalf of the Kellogg Foundation's initiative to bring equitable opportunities to persons of color and children living in poverty. Among nationally acclaimed clients such as Toyota, Walgreens, and NAACP, Christine is passionate about forwarding the impact of organizations making significant transitions in their local communities. So, Christine, is there anything I've missed or that you would like to add for the people that are here today?
No, but I agree with John. I need to update my bio to make it more readable and, a little bit more gripping. So that's my homework after this.
Just throw it through ChatGPT. You'll have the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes it super easy. Yeah, it's
Perfect.
great.
So some of us, I'll add a little bit of color to this. Some of us, and by some of us, I mostly mean me. I'm Ryan, by the way. Those of you who don't know who I am, Matt will intro me at some point, probably. But Matt, so me and definitely John. We're the evil, bloodthirsty marketers. Christine is there to add a little bit of an overlay of the compassion element and that piece, because really it's important that people understand that there's not one right, perfect, only way to do copywriting. And so much of copy is about finding your voice. And so we want to make sure that when we're thinking about talking about copy, that we provide some, I don't want to even say different perspectives, but that we provide a full scope of what it means to be a copywriter. And certainly Christine brings that to the table as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm excited for the dynamic of both parties playing.
Agree.
Love it. And one of our actual instructors for our upcoming Copywriting Accelerator, Billy, is on. Billy, no one told me you're going to be here, so I don't have your official bio to share, but I think I could do you one better.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So Billy's on here. He is he came up with his 5 light bulbs framework. That is fantastic when it comes to copywriting, really. I mean, from ad all the way through to conversion. And what I'll say about Billy that I think speaks for itself is we invested, what was it, about $15,000 or so, Billy, for you to come in and consult on some of the email stuff we were doing and some of the campaigns. That campaign alone has generated, I don't know, well over $1 million in the last 12 months for us. So I think that speaks in itself of Billy and his framework. So I'll let that let the money speak for itself. So thanks for being here, Billy.
Love it. Appreciate it, Matt.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, Brian Deiss. We'll keep this one shorter. I'm sure you all know him, but if anybody's here for the first time with us, Ryan's the creator of the customer value optimization methodology, introduced and popularized many of the digital selling strategies that modern companies now take for granted. Quite literally wrote the book on marketing, while also founding multiple companies, employing hundreds around the globe. According to Shark Tank star Daymond John, his companies practically own the internet. So now, Ryan, with that said, can you go ahead and share with everyone why we are here today, and then we'll dig into the questions.
We are here because, and Mark alluded to this to get started, I believe and always have that when it comes to all the different phases of marketing, all the different skills that you can learn in marketing, the one most valuable skill, if somebody said, what is the one that you could, if you only had to pick one skill to learn, what would it be? I've said from the beginning, I continue to believe that copywriting is that one skill. It's been more and less sexy at different points of the kind of marketing history of marketing. I've been doing this, launched my very first business online in 1999, and the only skill that made me successful was because I learned copywriting. I learned what it meant to put persuasion into words, and whether that copy is words on a page, or whether that copy becomes a script in a video, or that copy becomes an abbreviated short form TikTok video or something in social. Copy is what fuels sales. copy is the core of everything. So we've wanted to do this for a while now, because it really is, it's my first love. And I believe it's the most valuable skill that any marketer that any marketer can possess. Copywriters also just happen to be the highest paid marketers on planet Earth. I mean, that's period, end of story. You might have heard that in a lot of companies, you'll hear people talk about how the top salesperson at that company makes more than the CEO. And it's absolutely true. But at plenty of companies, the copywriters make more than the CEOs. The copywriters make more than the best salesperson, because copy is a lot more scalable. And so for me, copywriting is the thing that has made me a whole lot of millions of dollars. Copywriting is the thing that has made the businesses that we have today successful. And all the people that you're hearing from today, again, they're able to point to copy as being that skill that drives in there. So this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, because I believe that it was time. So much of marketing has been about, who can be the best at buying media, who can be the best at advertising, who can be the best at the latest trick or hack or tactic. And I was afraid when AI came on board that, here we go. Everybody's going to forget about copywriting because now there's AI, and AI is going to replace copywriters, and everybody's going to believe that copywriting doesn't matter. And what I've been so excited to see is that the opposite has happened. What we have seen with AI, it has created a revival in copywriting that I think is so important for two really, really critical reasons. Number one, a lot of people are realizing that even though you have these AI tools that can write pretty good copy for you, there's a difference between pretty good copy and that true A-list high-level copy. So a lot more people are starting to become quote-unquote copywriters because they got freaking a chat GPT, and now they think they're copywriters. Nuh-uh. Because if all you're doing is letting this do the work for you, and you don't have the core foundational skills to be able to detect good copy from bad copy, it's not going to work. Also, if you aren't able to overlay real, true copy skills on top of the work that AI does, then it's not going to break through the noise. So it's created this revival in copywriting that I think is beautiful. So we're like, the time is now, the time is right. Let's do this thing. I'll say one more thing about the importance of copy, just to really hopefully bring this point home. When you think about marketing, right? Go ahead, drop in the chat. When you think about marketing, what are some concepts that pop into mind? So if I think about, I do digital marketing. If you were to hear somebody say, oh, I do digital marketing, what are some of the things that you would say that person does? Right? What are some of the skills? What are some of the tactics that they would deploy? So Bob says graphic design. Alicia says funnels. Bill says sales funnels. Ben says ads, social media, SEO, research, social advertising, psychology, reels, content advertising, social media, newsletters, ads, digital media, client attraction, crafting, all the things. Okay. And y'all can keep the list going, but here's what I want you to pay attention to when you look at this list. Everything that is in this list falls into two categories: message and amplification. Look at it again. You will not see a single thing on this list that does not fall into the category of messaging or the category of amplification. And I submit to you that what most people think of when they think about digital marketing, advertising, social media, SEO, content marketing, social, email, when most of us think about the tactics of digital marketing, what those things really are is they are amplification. Just about everything in marketing is amplification. Just about everything that most people want to master with respect to marketing is amplification. And my question to you is amplification of what? What are you amplifying? If you aren't amplifying a message that works, then what you're really doing, and I don't want to get vulgar, but I'm going to do it anyway, what you're really doing is shining a bright spotlight on a turd. And a brighter light does not make a turd better. What copywriters do, all right, is they craft beautiful non-turd-like messages that other marketers can then amplify. Without great copy, marketing doesn't work. And that's why I'm so excited that we're having this AMA. And so this is going to be, just as the name suggests, an open AMA. This is your opportunity to ask questions of the amazing copywriters that are here about what does it take to generate at least 6 figures as a copywriter. I'm pretty sure everybody here generates well in excess of 7. But why can we feel really good about saying we want to help you get the skills to become a 6-figure copywriter? Because any copywriter that's ever worked for me that's worth their salt makes at least 6 figures. So if you want to break into marketing as a career and you want to make big money, it's going to be copywriting that's going to be the best avenue to do that. If you want to start an agency or a consultancy, copywriting, it's either the thing you do or it's the foundation of everything you do. You don't want to be in the amplification business but have no control over the messaging that you're amplifying. You won't last long as a consultant or as an agency. And if you want to launch your own business, or if you want to grow the business that you have, so I'm talking to marketing professionals, I'm talking to agency owners, consultants, and I'm talking to entrepreneurs. If you don't master the art of copywriting, whether it's you or somebody on your team, your business will not scale. It's just as simple as that. Copy is the core of everything. So if you've got some questions about what does it mean to go out there, whether it's the business side or some tactics, Matt, what's the best way for them to drop those in, just into the Q&A box?
Yeah, Q&A is the best, y'all. If you can drop it, as you've seen from Ryan's question there, the chat gets pretty crazy. We try to keep up on everything, but there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. 2 little chat bubbles with a Q&A underneath it. Click that and pop them in there. If you don't see it at the bottom of your screen, then it's most likely hiding in a button that has 3 dots that says more underneath. You can click there and you'll see Q&A in the list of more options.
Yeah. So drop in, feel free to drop in your questions. We're going to try to take them in the order they come in. I know Matt and team are going to be working to consolidate some to answer as many as we can. But yeah, we just kind of want this to be open. We want this to be interactive. I also want to make sure that we're 100% transparent. There's 2 reasons that we're doing this AMA. The first is I love this stuff and I love talking about it. I love that we got people showing up for a thing on copywriting. You're my people. But the other reason, again, we're all marketers here. I'm a big fan of transparency. What we're doing that I'm particularly excited about is we are launching a copywriting mastery accelerator. And the goal of this accelerator is to turn you or somebody on your team into an elite 6-figure copywriter. So whether you yourself want to up-level your skills, leveraging the tried and true fundamentals, foundational frameworks that just never change, while at the same time overlaying all of the new stuff onto that with AI, we wanted to create a program that would allow you to do that. And this is something I've wanted to do since the end of last year. We're looking to do it at the start of this year. And then frankly, when all the AI stuff happened, it's like, we got to pump the brakes on this, but now it's time. So I'm not going to go into the details of this program, but I want to be completely transparent with you. The reason that we are doing this AMA is because I want you to experience a little bit of what it's like to get to hang out and learn from other brilliant copywriters. Because the people that you're hearing from today are just some of your instructors that are going to be guiding you on this 6-figure copywriting journey for the next 4 weeks. So we want you to meet them. We want you to be able to ask them some questions. The only person whose face is not here is mine. So I appreciate the team completely leaving me off. That was great. I'm actually helping on this too, just for what that is worth. But here's what you need to know. This program, again, and I'm going to give you a link in just a second. When this opens tomorrow, okay, this is going to open tomorrow. And when does it start, Matt? I know it's on here somewhere, but can you remind me again of when it officially starts?
Yeah, we've got the official first session coming up on the following Thursday, the 31st.
Great. So it will, it'll open up tomorrow, go out to our list of about 500,000 marketers. We've got a spot for 100. Okay, we're going to open up to 100 people. I have every reason to believe that they're all going to sell out quickly. We want to make sure that everybody on this call gets first dibs, so you get early access. So this is going to open, and when it opens tomorrow, this will be the price. For everybody who is here today, because you showed up, not only do you get early access, but what we're also going to do for everybody who is here today is you're going to save $200 with the link, and I believe it's DigitalMarketer. It's a really fancy link, digitalmarketer.com/copy. digitalmarketer.com/copy. And again, not only do you save $200, not only do you get early access, but you also get access to an on-demand program that we did, the AI-powered Marketer Accelerator. This in and of itself was a $1,000 program. Tomorrow, when this opens up to everybody else in the list, They will not see this page that has this price. They will not see this page that has this today only bonus. They will see this page here. If you notice, the price is this, and there ain't no today only bonus number 6. So this is only for you. It is only for the people who join on while you're on this call, because we want to reward you while you're here. And I believe it's only going to be good for about 2 hours while we're on. So it's going to be a limited time thing. So for the rest of this AMA, I'm not going to be pitching this program. I want to let you know and be transparent. For the rest of the AMA, our goal is to impress you. Our goal is to deliver value in advance. Our goal is to make you think, holy crap, if I have the opportunity to learn from this amazing group of people and to become a 6-figure copywriter for $795, I'd be crazy not to do that. That's the goal. That's the outcome. We want to demonstrate as opposed to trying to sell. Arguably, as copywriters, we should have some big giant pitch at the end. That's not what we're doing. We're just going to be completely transparent with you on it. But there's the link. If at any point in time you say, that's it, I'm good, I am in, then that is our goal. So with that extended introduction out of the way, Matt, you ready to open it up to some questions?
I am. We've got a ton of questions rolling in, which are fantastic. I did want to kind of get just a little bit of insight. Ryan, you shared a lot, and I'd love to get some of our other panelists' insights today. So John and Christine, I'll ask you both here. I'd love to get your intake. So, or your insights on this question. So John, I'll ask you to kick it off, but I'd love to know, like, obviously this program, what our goal is to really help people become 6-figure copywriters. Like, how do you get that level of income? Or if you're a business owner, how do you add, new 6 figures, 7 figures to your business? So I would like to know, I know Ryan shared his thoughts. Why do you believe that copywriters are among the highest paid marketers on earth?
I think it's down to the ability to persuade and connect on an emotional level, not to steal Christine's thunder. I'm sure that you're better at this than I am, but I think that the heart of copywriting is engaging with people's core values. And we do it in a clever way that sounds like it sounds like it's compelling you towards something. And so whenever you have somebody on your team who can compel somebody, not coerce, there's a big difference in those two words. I'm kind of I have a penchant for words. Obviously, I'm a copywriter. So I believe in compelling someone to tap on their core values, to say, I really believe that what I have is really going to help you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you about it. And if you come from that framework, which is, I think, is an ethical framework, and also connecting to them on their emotional level, so that you're not talking about how great your stuff is. You're talking about how you can solve the pain that they're in right now, how their life can look different if they apply something. If you have somebody, anyone in your company who can talk to people like that, they are naturally going to earn more money. They're naturally going to be more successful, because that's the heart of what I think most people want. They want to be seen, heard, validated, and understood. And good copywriters do all four.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Could not agree more. Christine, I would love to hear kind of your take on that question as well. What do you, why do you believe that copywriters are among some of the highest paid marketers on planet Earth?
Well, I couldn't agree more, especially on the empathy piece. I mean, a Harvard Business Study found that 95% of business decisions are made in our subconscious, which is where our emotions live. And so it's not any copywriter who's going to be some of the highest paid. It's the ones who get it, and the ones who understand the art of the person with whom they're engaging, the art of humanity. I mean, honestly, we actually went through a recent rebrand where we changed our name to the Knowing Agency. It's the knowing of the human soul, to then be able to connect with them on that emotional level and then move them to take action. And it's for their betterment on an emotional level. It's not just, hey, we're selling you a basement waterproofing system. It's, we're going to bring comfort to your home, and we're going to take care of your family. And it changes the whole structure and the whole angle, so that you're reaching them on the heart level, which is ultimately what is motivating them to make that purchase. And I love what Ryan said regarding being in the power seat. I had a flashback while you were talking, Ryan, about if you're the one driving the message, you have so much control over what is working and what isn't. Somebody can A/B test colors, somebody can A/B test buttons and placement and things like that. But it is the message, because that's the ultimate driver of conversion. So I love that point.
Fantastic. And Ryan, I'll round it out with you, because I know you and I kind of chatted before, and I think you had some of the things you wanted to share in terms of what you believe to be, the reason that copywriters are among the highest paid, and why they get the opportunities that they do in this world.
the closer you can get to money, to the actual making the cash register ring, some of it's always going to spill over into you. And so one of the highest paid professions in the world, without a doubt, is sales. But some of us are terrified of selling, of talking to other people, of that rejection. I know I am. I mean, I'm an introvert. I will fake extroversion for money if I have to. But I am an introvert. And so I think if you're an introvert, if the idea of sales scares you, like it definitely did me, or maybe you're totally fine with sales, but you just would like to do it at a more leveraged way. The highest form of leverage sales is copywriting, because it is salesmanship at scale. That's what copywriting is. And the best copywriters in the world understand sales, and they understand how to do it at scale, do it in a leveraged manner. So it's really as simple as that. There just aren't as many copywriters as there are salespeople. So if you ask most folks, what's the highest paid profession in most companies? The people who know are going to, it's the top salespeople. That's true. Actually, it's not. The highest paid people in most companies are the copywriters. Usually, though, they don't necessarily work for the company. Some of the best copywriters in the world, you can't hire them. You can throw lots of money at them. Like, again, I mean, I love you mentioned, Billy. Like, we mentioned Billy, paid Billy. We didn't pay Billy $15,000 to come and write anything for us. We paid him just like, hey, kind of help us out and show us how to do stuff. And we're dang happy to do it. To tell a little story, Jon Benson. I didn't just pay Jon Benson. Jon Benson was like, man, what if we just give you equity in this company because you know how to make the cash register ring, you know how to write copy. So copywriters don't just get paid well, copywriters get equity. And I think that's the biggest component of it as well, because again, copy makes the cash register ring. Everything else is amplification.
Absolutely. Fantastic. With kind of our three experts we've got on, I'd love to kind of ask you guys each just kind of one question about in general what you're going to be covering on this accelerator. Then once we get through that, we'll go ahead and open it up to everybody's questions. So going back in the same order, John, I know you've got a couple different things you're going to be sharing, but I think one that'll hit, with a lot of people here is, and you're going to be talking about why you believe that ChatGPT struggles with writing persuasive copy. So would you mind sharing a little bit about where you land with ChatGPT and true persuasive copywriting?
Sure. Well, the first topic is AI and copywriting. And when we say AI, in our colloquial definition of that, has become ChatGPT. It's almost a ubiquitous term. You can use them as synonyms, but in reality, there's a lot of different AIs out there that people can use, and I think that you should use, Claude being one of them. But Chat specifically Chat has read the internet pretty much up until 2022 or something to that effect. So that you would think that would make it a phenomenal copywriter, but alas, that's not the case. Because if I wanted to teach somebody how to be a really bad copywriter, I would say, read all the copy on the internet. Most of the copy on the internet is really bad. So if you combine that simple truism with the fact that ChatGPT is narrow AI, it's not general intelligence. So that's where people are wanting to go with this. If people think ChatGPT is Skynet, it's going to take over the world. Any day now, Terminators will arise. That's artificial general intelligence. Is hopefully a ways down the line. Hopefully it's going to be handled with ethics and integrity, knock on wood. ChatGPT is not going to do that. But likewise, ChatGPT is not going to save you from bad copy. And this because it's read the internet and because it's a logical prediction engine. That's what it is. It's just predicting the next set of letters extremely fast, like blazing fast, warp speed. So if you understand how it thinks and how to tap into it, which is what we've devoted years of our lives to do within both CopyPro and Benson and the software platforms I have, we've kind of figured out how to make it write better than it can, better than it should. And there's a way to do that to amplify what you're doing, back to Ryan's message. And it's not going to replace it. And so what I'm going to be talking about is how to tap into ChatGPT specifically, have it give you the ability to do the work of two people easily. You can turn ChatGPT into your copy cub. cubs, plural, because it's like having 15 of them that you never have to pay except for $20 a month. Great if you can get the gig, right? But do that in a way that doesn't make you sound robotic. You can still keep the emotional connection, and you combine that with the ability to understand copy. So right now we're teaching copywriting from a position of understanding it first and foremost, and then writing it, because it's no longer as important to know how to type it all out as it is to understand what makes good copy, compelling copy, connecting copy. And so that's what we'll be doing inside that particular course. And the second course is going to be on video sales letter scripts, video scripts, particularly for ads. So those are the two areas of interest.
You know a thing or two about those video sales letter scripts, John?
I know somebody who does. So know a friend who did.
I dropped this in the chat, man. What you just said on about ChatGPT, and I've never heard it put that eloquently, and it totally makes sense. Will you say it again? If I were to, I forget exactly how you said it, but if you were going to basically have somebody suck at copywriting, you would have them study. Yeah. That's such a good point, because ChatGPT has been trained on everything. Most copy is bad. If you want the average of most copy, you're going to wind up with bad, or at least kind of meh, boiled chicken. The type of deal that just doesn't break through at all. That is such a phenomenally great point.
Ian Stanley calls it. We were on a call together, and he said it's soulless, and I think that term. Oh, go figure. Ian, he's a great copywriter. It is soulless, and there's a way to give it a soul, so to say, and give the machine a soul. The ex machina here. So there is a way to do that, and I think leveraging some of these principles will get you closer to that. But if you think of chat as just an awesome copy cub and a tool and a research assistant, I think you'll fare really well. It's not going to replace you as long as you understand how to tap into it for the most part. And certainly you will be way up in your office, way up in your career, solo career, if that's what you're doing, if you know how to understand what makes good copy. If you understand that and you can edit copy, I'm a huge fan of editing copy, you are going to rule the roost. You're going to be the person that companies call.
Absolutely. Editing, your point, John, that's so dead on. I mean, editing copy is so big. I mean, if you write a piece of copy, even with using ChatGPT, I mean, the challenge that I know Ryan kind of believes the same thing, but go back and how do you remove 30% of what you wrote? Because I bet you when you're done with that, your letter is going to be, whatever you're writing is going to be that much better, 2, 3, 4 times better than it was when everything was there.
That's huge. Yeah.
Another thing, I'm really anxious to hear about this, because John, you'd said you're going to talk about how to use ChatGPT or AI in general to serve as a copy cub. And for those of you who don't know what cub is, it's a review process. Cub stands for confusing, unbelievable, boring. And it's really about it's back to that editing, right? How do you really edit down your copy and remove the sections that might be a turnoff to your reader, and also amplify the sections that will really help you sell. So I'm super excited to hear your process for that, because that's super awesome.
Well, thanks. And just for clarification, the way I'm using cub, I probably need to pick a better use of the term. But when we say copy cubs, we mean copy underlings, the people that are working under. So junior copywriters. So I train, and then we call it cubbing. So different, I guess, old school guys. Yeah,
I love it.
Around before the internets.
Fair enough. That's awesome. Very cool. All right, then, Christine, my next question is for you. I know you're going to be talking a lot about, really that optimization piece of copy when we get into style and brand and persuasion along the way. I'd love to kind of hear from you where persuasion fits in with the work that you do, and what your stances and belief is on, really like ethical persuasion, and how you can use that as a way to really boost your brand and boost your authority.
Yes. Yeah. One thing that got me was last year at Traffic and Conversion. I was talking with a friend, and they were like, you know what, marketers are the best manipulators. And I felt like a dagger in the heart, because it can be so true. It can be so true, apart from having a semblance of emotional intelligence and leading with empathy and understanding your customer on an emotional level. and also caring, because otherwise manipulation is what is exactly going to take place in our marketing without careful insight. And so there's a fine line between persuasion and manipulation. And so really leading with authenticity is what I have found to be the first step, and then being able to meet the audience with empathy. And so it's really understanding who each audience is, and not just the audience, but who each brand is. Because whether you are writing on behalf of your own personal company or you're writing on behalf of a client, you have to understand why they are human to the customer. Our customers are so different from the customers in which our parents were. You know, people are no longer sitting on their couch consuming content. They're on their phones, they're on their iPads, they're consuming at all times at such a high volume and frequency that how are we cutting through the noise? And they want to hear from people. I mean, we've seen the rise of influencers, right? And so it's how do you, as a big brand or as a mom and pop shop, how do you position yourself in such a way where you are coming across authentically in a manner that then attracts them to you so that they feel seen and known and understood, and thus moved to action because of your presence, because of your copy that you're putting forward. So it's both pieces, it's both sides of the bridge, you positioning yourself authentically and then understanding them to meet them with empathy. And then, you know, the copy is kind of what brings those two pieces together. And so we'll be talking about the approach in style, and then also the approach in the persuasive element as well. And then the third part to my session is copywriting secrets, and that I cannot tell.
Love it. That's a great marketer right there. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I really love what you had to say about cutting through the noise and how we're able to do that with today's consumer and understanding just how much content they're truly consuming constantly throughout the day, nonstop. And how do we build a brand or a persona that actually cuts into them and they understand from an emotional level truly who that brand stands for. So that's fantastic. Very, very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Fantastic. And then my last question before we open it up, sorry, I hogged it from everybody, but I promise my last one will get to all your questions. My last question here is for Billy. And Billy is actually interesting. I know Christine just mentioned, kind of cutting through the noise, and that's so much of when you and I work together, and what you talked about in your 5 light bulbs framework is so much of that. And how do we move people through, the buying journey and replicate that, along with the human experience. And I know in this course, you're going to be talking, mostly about written ad copy, but I'd love to kind of hear in general what your take is on that process of really that awareness of an ad all the way through to that conversion of an actual buyer.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And Christine, I love what you said. Yeah, totally agree. And yeah, one of the ways that I think about it is it's kind of like the golden rule of marketing. It's like market to people how you want to be marketed to. And one thing I see people do a lot is they market to me like I'm an idiot. It's like, I'm sure you guys see through a lot of this crap, like a lot of these ads that pop up. It's like, come on, like I just don't buy this. And it kind of goes back to something that Ogilvy said. He said, treat your reader like they're smart. And that's what I try to do. Like treat my reader like they're intelligent, like they can make the right decision for them, like they can understand a good argument and make the best decision, even if that's not going with you, even if it's going with someone else. And I'm still recovering from what Jon said too, like Ryan, because that was such a good way of putting it, Jon, about AI and just studying this. Well, it's crap in, crap out. And one of the sayings I like a lot about marketing is that it's like a toupee. You only notice the bad examples. And there's just so many bad examples out there. And man, if you can, and that's why, people say, well, who reads those long form sales pages? And it's like, yeah, I get what you mean. Because most of the ones that you see are just terrible. Like, I don't know who reads those either. They're long and they're terrible. But, all the copywriters on here know there's nothing more powerful than having someone read an interesting, educational, entertaining, long form sales letter and getting that person to the end. Like that is the goal. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And you can do it authentically. You can do it in a smart way where you make like a good, clear rhetorical argument, and also have a lot of fun doing it too. So I can't wait. I'm really excited for this, and I love that I have such a great team with me on this.
Thanks, Billy. Yeah, I'm super excited. And then Ryan and myself will be kicking things off for the first couple sessions and really talking about, what kind of brings us all together. We've got just phenomenal experts. These are just 3 of the people that we have on the accelerator that are going to be sharing their expertise and what you can already see from already from the big takeaways, it's going to be fantastic. And what Ryan and I are going to dig in on is how do we have a through frame for this entire thing. How does this all fit into, how does copywriting fit into customer value journey? How does it fit into messaging to your right and ideal customer? And how do we set that tone so that you get all these amazing strategies, tactics, templates, and the like as you go throughout this entire accelerator? It pulls it all together into one piece that really makes for fantastic copywriting throughout the customer value journey. So excited about that. Before we hand it over to Mark, because he's been keeping up on all of the questions, Ryan, do you have any last thoughts on what we've been sharing before I hand it over to Mark to start asking some questions?
No, let's get to some of the people's questions.
Great. Mark, do you mind coming on in and letting us know what the people want to know?
Absolutely. I think we'll fire it off with the one that is on everyone's mind, which is in regards to copywriting and AI. So we had Jerry actually with our first question. What is the future of copywriting with AI being a threat to copywriters? How can one utilize AI to become a better copywriter? So maybe we start off with John.
That's a great question. I think it's, to quote Mark Twain, the rumors of our death have been greatly exaggerated here. It's copywriters, I believe it was Twain. If I'm wrong, somebody just laugh at me. But it's not the death of copywriting for sure. It's some of it is going to be the death of the processes that copywriters go through, because there's ways to speed up now what used to take us hours and hours and hours. Research is one of them, although chat likes to lie a lot. So you have to double check your research. But the future, I think, of copywriting is more of, think of it as a combination of a copy editor, someone who understands copywriting from a mental framework, and someone who understands enough about AI, not to become a prompt engineer, because I don't think very many of us want to do that, but someone who knows how to tap into these three modalities of editing, of conceptual writing, meaning what is good, what do you think converts, resonates. You have to be able to know those kind of things, and that's why Ryan is spot on. We've noticed an uptick in our copywriting courses because people now know that, well, this isn't converting well, and there has to be a reason why. And so you have editing, you have the framework of copywriting itself, and then you have putting that together with a person who knows enough to get that out of AI and how to get the basic foundation out of the AI. So I think it's going to sum up the answer is going to be, I really believe AI is going to be the world's greatest copy cub, at least for now. 5 years from now, we'll have a different conversation. If there's general intelligence that comes out, that's going to be different. But the stuff that I've seen AI generate by itself, and I have sales pages that purposely were done 85 to 90% with AI to show people that it can be done. Those still struggle in comparison to the pages that an A-list human being has written, but they're pretty damn good. It's really getting there. And I think that if I'm using it as an assistant, if you're using it as an assistant, and you master as much as you can the nuances of copywriting, where you can see what makes good copy and tweak things here and there, now we've got a future that will allow you to do the work of two people. And that to me is very exciting. It's extremely exciting. If I can go on 1 second here, I don't want to take up too much time, but I was speaking on an AI forum yesterday with book authors, and I've written 6 or 7 books. And so, but don't consider myself a book author. I just happen to have written some. But they were looking at, like, what is this going to do for AI can write a book now. I can write a book like Tom Clancy, et cetera, et cetera. You've probably heard that kind of stuff. But when they were looking at it from our framework of what if you turned it into an idea generator versus a writer, and you upload your chapter of a book and you say, okay, based on this chapter, give me 3 compelling ideas that I might not have thought of for what might happen in the next chapter. And then it gives you the ideas. And next thing you know, okay, wow, that's a great idea. And then you write it from there. That is so much more empowering than thinking this can just write it for me. Because there's something to AI copy. We'll go back to the word soulless, that has a stench to it. and there, you have to know how to take the stench away from it. And that is editing and copywriting knowledge. And if you have those 2 skills, you will go a long ways with AI and copywriting.
I love that. Yeah, and the practical use of AI instead of it actually replacing anybody or anything, I think is what everybody should take away. And during our our AI boot camp, where all we talked about was using AI, that came into a point over and over again, which is you don't use it to make the end product. You use it to make the beginning of the product, or like you were saying with the next chapter of whatever you're trying to create, and it just speeds up everything, which is. But if you don't have that core foundation of a good copywriting skill set, then it doesn't really matter. You're not going to know whether it's good or not anyways. So there you go. You need that foundation. So with that said, there are a lot of jobs to be had in copywriting. We had Gus ask, what would the top 3 best copywriting paid jobs be? So which copywriting jobs pay the best? And he listed email marketing copy, or lead generators, or blogs. Matt, why don't you take this one in terms of what you see as in terms of the positions available?
Yeah, I mean, it can depend. At the end of the day, it depends on what you're looking for in terms of, let's talk about on freelance. I'll take that variable out of it. But freelance standpoint, if you're looking at something where you're looking to make kind of consistent income, good, healthy, consistent income, it can be great to be a specialist in email copywriting. As a freelancer, you get a lot of clients that just don't want to do the copywriting for email. They don't have a strategy for it, and you can provide consistent results. And it's something that people are going to need. They're going to want to feed their list and have those pieces over and over again. However, there's also people that need that flagship offer, whether it's that video sales letter, whether it's that flagship page. And that's the type of thing that you might, there we go. Whether that, that might be a situation where it takes you 3-4 months, and now AI is making it better, but there's still a lot of research that goes into those really fantastic pieces of copy sales letters, video sales letters across the board. So you might spend a lot more time, but positioned the right way and with the right partner, in that you might get a cut of what they make. I mean, that is where you look at Agora, the Agora companies. That's where some of their top copywriters make all their money. It is about, they might do 1 or 2 huge pieces a year, and they're going to clean up a couple $1 million in their cut their way.
No, so that's a great way to look at it, and just the possibilities you have as a copywriter. So it's not necessarily limited to individual positions, because honestly, if you know how to write and you have AI to help out a little bit, you could probably use those copywriting skills to get almost any marketing job. So I think that's fantastic. Now, in regards to copywriting, there is a lot of confusion between what is copywriting, what is storytelling, what is ad copy, all those kind of differentiations in terms of copywriting. I'm going to throw this one to you, Billy. Where do you see the line kind of being drawn between what's copy and like what's content?
It's a great question. Yeah. And I don't think there's a lot of valuable advice out there on this, to be completely honest with you. There's a lot of things that you hear, like create valuable content. And I just ask myself, what does that even mean, to create valuable content? One of the things, the distinctions that I want to draw is there's different types of business models out there. And one of the popular types of business models right now is it was influencer, maybe it's more creator now. And there's a lot of advice around that, around creating content. And a lot of that advice is meant for you to go viral on YouTube. It's meant for you to rack up sponsorships. And I have a lot of people who sell professional services, coaching, courses, who come to me and they follow a lot of that advice, like that content marketing advice, but it's not necessarily the best advice if you sell a product or a service. So I look at it through that lens, like if you're in the business, and that's what copywriting is. Like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about selling a product or a service. We're not talking about becoming the next Mr. Beast on YouTube. So if you look at it through, that's the lens that I look at it through. And I think that the content can just support the copywriting, but I fully believe that those all need to be aligned, and they're not something totally different. And they need to be aligned on sending the customer for the right option for them, whether that's your product or something else.
I love that. Well, and I think that's a good way to say it, where it's like, advertising uses direct, like you're using copywriting for this ad because you're trying to get somebody to take action, whereas content, Mr. Beast style, is general. And so that's
Entertainment.
a good way to look. But no matter what, the copywriting skills and the ability to, influence people's thinking through good words is never going to go away. So even if you're planning on making content, it's still a very useful principle to have in terms of, being able to write good copy. Now,
I'd love to throw in on this just real quick, because I agree with everything that Billy said, but I want to make sure there is a distinction between content that is sort of the product that's being put out there. So music, for example, is content, right? And sometimes this content is sold. Images can be content. So content is something that's just kind of packaged up and there you go, it's IP. When we're talking about copy, we're specifically referring to the type of content that is designed to persuade. Now, oftentimes what is considered to be content is in fact persuasive. And this can be used for the forces of good or for the forces of evil. There's a whole lot of content out there, whether it be song or art, that is, make no mistake, copy. Okay, it is designed to persuade. Propaganda would be a good example of this. Much of what you are being fed out there as art and as influencer type stuff is actually being fed by people who really understand human persuasion very, very, very well. And it's the copywriters who look at it and go, I know exactly what you're doing there, right? It's like when a magician's looking at another magician going, everybody's kind of, their minds are blown. And the magician's walking by come on, man, he's got a freaking stick. It's just hidden by a mirror or something. Give me a break, right? And there's something magical to when you understand how the trick is performed. There's power in just it not working the same way on you. Now, with great, skill, I forget what's the Spider-Man quote, with great, power comes great responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility. When you have the ability to persuade, and you can do this in any way, shape, or form. If it's a sales letter, then it's very overt. But when you have the ability to persuade, the content that goes viral, I would submit to you more times than not, it's because it is copy. It is absolutely copy. The most popular song right now on YouTube in the world, right? Which I don't want to take a side or get political about this, but the Richmond, north of Richmond, that's copy, y'all. That's copy. And any copywriter could look at that and be like, this is a freaking sales letter. So understand that there is power in what we're talking about here. There's massive, massive power. Use it for the forces of good, not evil. That's my only ask. Because the line between copy and content is very thin indeed.
I love that. Well, and the sentiment of good versus evil, I think this next question is super relevant. And I'm going to ask you, Christine, would you need a certain depth of understanding, depth and empathy in order to be a good copywriter? Not everyone has this. So would good copywriting only be suitable for specific personalities?
Well, I hate pigeonholing because I think that there's, I'll make this personal. I felt like I went through almost like a waking up of sorts 2 years ago, where I felt like I actually had a lot of empathy for other people, but I didn't know myself. And in knowing myself, I have been able to explore a much greater depth of ability to then understand others, far beyond what I thought was even possible. I thought I was really great at connecting with others, but the more I actually did the work to know myself, I then was able to get on a much, much deeper level. And so I actually don't think it's a personality thing. I think it's how in tune you are to the needs and wants and feelings of others. And then obviously there's a very big strategic part. This is where, it goes back to Ryan's initial point of having the strategy there along with the empathy piece. It's not just all feeling and it's not just all thinking. It's really this beautiful, to use again your point, this magical blend. And being able to do that with poise and with grace and with elegance, I think is not something that is a personality driven capability. I think it's an intention and a desire and a commitment to do the work to know your own self and then know your audience as well. And your own self is in the brand. But frankly, I got to admit, from a personal level, the more you've done the work on your own self, it more empowers you to understand the brand and your customer in a much more robust way.
Oh, I love that. That's a fantastic answer. And I, I'll go so far to say is if you love your customer and you're writing to them, then you're going to do a much better job.
Yeah. If you care, they can tell. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's fantastic. I think we have time for one more question. I'm going to leave this up to you, Matt. We had a question. Tell me about the resources that I will have when I'm done with the course.
Oh goodness, in terms of actual like end deliverables and what you're going to have, I mean, it's going to be a treasure trove of literally what are tactics and tools and templates and prompts that I can use to write persuasive email copy, to write written ad copy, to write sales video ads, to write social media copy, to write sales page copy. It is about how do I write these different types of copy? What makes them unique? What makes them different? How do I make them persuasive and compelling? And then on top of all that, how can I leverage AI to make it that much faster, to serve as that kind of assistant role that you're able to then take what you've learned and understanding the true power of copy and actually what are those mechanisms that you can leverage for good or for evil, but hopefully good. What are those mechanisms you can leverage? And then how do you harness that, make it happen a heck of a lot faster using AI?
Definitely. And actually, Cameron or Michelle, if you want to just put we have a graphic that actually shows every one of the courses or the sessions and who's teaching it, then also what the dates are. So if you want to check that out, they'll give you some good understanding. Ryan says we keep answering questions, so I'm going to ask.
Yeah, I thought we were going for 90 minutes. I mean,
for 90 minutes. Okay.
If some of you guys need to bounce, feel free, but I don't know. We got a bunch of copywriters on. I'm here to hang with my peeps. So
and I've got it on my calendar for 90, so I'm good.
I was say I don't know what everybody else is doing, but like let's do this thing.
All right, let's keep going then. So I'm going back to AI because that's where we started. How can you convince your supervisor that you're using AI to make the copywriting process more efficient and that it doesn't mean you're cheating? What are some arguments in favor of using AI? And I'll go ahead and go back to Jon, since you're our AI guy.
That's a great question. Okay.
The burden of proof is on AI at this point. Like,
yeah,
really.
Like a hospice? Anyway,
so
sorry,
would your supervisor care if you were cheating, if you were producing copy that resonated, converted, was on brand, on target? It seems like, I mean, he'd have to, or she would have to define that as cheating somehow. I don't know. There may be some people out there that are really AI phobic, for lack of better terms, that would say, oh, it's cheating, but it's no different than, for the way I'm coming at it, is no different than hiring a copy consultant or hiring a cub to come in and work underneath you. And to say, hey, I've got some ideas, let's bounce some ideas off. So let me just throw this out as a concept for everyone and see I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you feel like sometimes just having one person as a sounding board in your life to run ideas by all of a sudden makes those ideas just exponentially better, even if it's just a comfort factor? Does anyone have that?
100%.
If you do, like, thumbs up. Okay, so
100%.
I have that in my own writing. I've noticed that I used to write with a big company that's a fitness company, and the owner of the company and I would write together, and he would end up editing along with me. And the best copy I've ever written, most lucrative, for sure, was there because there was another person involved. So if you think of AI in that situation, that this can become your other person involved, this makes it much, much less cheating and much more empowering, and a way to facilitate what your supervisor is going to want and do it faster, give them different versions of it. One thing AI is very, very good at is once it understands the pattern, that you can ask it, give me 3 different versions in the same pattern, in the same style. And I'll show you some prompts during the training for that. And now you've got multiple versions that you can immediately split test, or that you can give to your supervisor, and they can say, oh, I like that, or, oh, I like this one better. So to me, it's like just giving you options and really split in seconds versus hours.
I love that.
Can I give a less sarcastic answer than I gave before? Because if nothing else, just to redeem my my brand and to not have Christine say that that I'm a non-empathetic jerk. But this, by the way, is why I'm astoundingly unemployable. Because bosses say stuff like that sometimes, and I just go, I'm leaving now. But anyway, that notwithstanding, I'm not going to suggest that you actually do that. And I think, again, empathy, understand your market. I'm not displaying good characteristics of a copywriter right now. So let me go back and try again. Because what I'm actually talking about is how to really understand your audience and appeal to their needs. That's what I'm talking about. And I couldn't have possibly given a worse demonstration of how to do that a second ago. So let me give you a better demonstration. I think it's important if you're going to talk to your supervisor, if you have editor, like designers, say like, is it cheating if a designer uses Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator? Right. I do believe that AI is analogous to that. It's not a perfect, it's not a perfect analogy. It certainly breaks down, but this is a tool. And in the same way, and I commented about this, dropped this in the comments when you were talking, John, in the same way that Photoshop did not render photographers obsolete or unnecessary or even lazier, it just made the great ones better. Right? It just made the great ones better because somebody still has to snap the photo. The original idea. What's the hook? Okay. What's the hook? I'm sorry. You're right. You asked ChatGPT that. It's going to give you a bunch of bland boilerplate examples that have already been done. Right. So no, somebody needs to what's the hook? Somebody needs to take the picture, snap the photo. Okay, great. Now we need to crop it. Right. Great photography is great cropping. It's what you leave out that creates interest. This is what great art does as well. It's the cropping. I could go down a rabbit trail there because I love art and art history. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. Great copywriters decide what to leave in and what to out. What's the big idea? What's the hook? And then it's ultimately the editing. What do we make lighter, brighter? What do we add the contrast? I mean, the tools are going to help with this. And all it's doing is it's a tool that you've never had before, in the same way that Photoshop was a tool that photographers didn't have. It's going to make, and so if I'm you, it's talking to them and say, it's going to make me better. It's going to make me faster. It's going to make sure I can do more higher quality work in less time, which means you don't have to hire more of me as we scale, which we will, because I got this amazing tool. That's actually what you do say. You don't look at them and go, the burden isn't on me, dummy. Even if that's what you want to say. We keep those thoughts inside. We tamp them down. Okay, you got to
start with that's a stupid question, boss. Like that's what bosses like to hear. No, I love both examples, John. With using, say, I'm going to hire a VA because I have too much work. They're not going to be like, that's cheating. You do it yourself, or like a piece of software. Like, here's something that's going to make me 90% more efficient and require way less people. There's no good manager or owner should be arguing with you about that. And if they are, then you probably shouldn't be there anyway. So there you go. Problem solved. Anyways, let's ask this one question. I'm going to ask this to each of you, or you can just go down the list. But what is one copywriting book you would recommend? So not a bunch. I'm going with your top copywriting book. I know all copywriters have a list of books, so I'm going to drag out this question so you can all think about it for a second. But Ryan, I know yours. So let's start with you.
What do you think mine is?
Ogilvy.
No, wrong. I mean, it's a good one. So this is tough, man. This is like asking me to pick who my favorite child is. I've got 4, and you should know that I do have a favorite at any given time. It just changes depending on how they behave that day. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. The same is true with copywriting books, right? Different ones are going to be so incredibly important to you at different times. The one that for me, I believe, was the most impactful, though, was Eugene Schwartz's Breakthrough Advertising. The concept of understanding the levels of awareness, that there are 5 levels of awareness, and making sure that you know the level of awareness of the people that you're talking to, and that you meet them at their level of awareness and try to ascend them to the next level of awareness. So if they're unaware, we got to make them aware. If they're, if they're just kind of problem aware, they know they got a problem, we got to get them to solution aware. They got to understand the solution, the category. If they're solution aware, we got to get them product aware. What Billy, part of the reason we paid Billy $15,000 was, and a lot of what he's going to talk about, whether he wants to or not, is unpacking what we paid him $15,000 to really master, is an even more sophisticated way of doing that, of walking them down. That's what the customer journey is all about. It's about moving people through the levels of awareness. That's what copy does. Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising, did that for me.
Awesome. Christine, let's do you next.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Donald Miller's Building a Story brand because it really focuses on positioning the customer as the hero. I've gone to so many websites and so many messaging materials, collateral, etc., is so focused on the company, and it's very self-serving and just kind of selfish. And me as the consumer, I don't see myself in there. And we've got nanos of seconds to attract people, and so really emphasizing on them seeing themselves right out of the gate. It was, Ryan, you said this earlier, salesmen are some of the top highest paying people in the world. Matt, you said this too, but well, who wrote the message that is driving conversions? And so it's really the positioning everybody in the company, with the message that is going to position the customer as a hero, where they feel so seen at every single touch point of that customer journey, from top of funnel all the way down, and not just bottom of funnel, but actually transforming them into an evangelist so that they become the best marketers more than your salesmen. So I found that Donald Miller's book was a favorite of mine.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's essential if you're getting into it. And I think that for the cross between content and copy, like that's an excellent one that'll serve both parties. Matt Swan, let's go with you next.
Yeah, I mean, what I would typically go to has already been shared with Ryan. That is definitely one of my favorites. But I think, in terms of, I'm going to think back to my career as a copywriter and what kind of got me started. The first book that I really read and understood what truly copywriting was and how it all comes together was actually a Dan Kennedy book, The Ultimate Sales Letter. And just the way he laid out what a sales letter looks like and what those components are made me truly understand how copywriting came together to be persuasive. So I would say that was a big one for me that I read very early on in my career. That was fantastic.
Awesome. Oh, and just so everybody knows, we do have an entire database of most of these books, I think, with a article Ryan wrote, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, but yeah, we'll put that in a link as well. John, how about you?
I'd say kick-ass copywriting, Carlton. John, anything John wrote, John's a genius in the way he understands the use of verbs. I call them juicy verbs. I don't know, I forget what he calls them, but that's he's just a wordsmith, but he's also he's comes at copy from the standpoint of a musician, because he is a musician, but also as just one of the most killer persuaders that you'll ever run into. So yeah, that's a great one. And of course, I echo back to Ryan. That was the first copywriting book I ever read. It's Breakthrough Advertising.
So, nice. So everybody,
I will. Sorry, I want to hear Billy's. Did Billy go?
No, Billy.
Not yet.
Okay. Sorry, Billy. You go, and then I want to make a comment about all of these books.
Yeah. Well, you stole mine, and then Matt stole my backup. So,
You're welcome.
And yeah, well, definitely, Ryan. Yeah, I love the Schwartz book. So I'll definitely. I mean, that's what I was going to say is my number one, Breakthrough Advertising. And Ryan's right. Yeah, the 5 light bulbs. I primarily built that framework based off Schwartz's belief building approach to copywriting, which was just a game changer for me, and also simplified marketing while making it a lot more effective too. So I love that. I love that book. I'll mention one that doesn't get a lot of attention, and it's The Architecture of Persuasion by Michael Masterson. I think that's an excellent book. It really shows a structure, and I like structure. I'm more of a left brain person. And the way he tells it is really engaging too. It's a date night between a man and a woman, and that's how he explains the architecture of persuasion.
Yeah, and the point that I wanted to make about all of these books is copywriters, because they're writers, they're readers, and if they're not, you should be. I can generally tell if I walk into a marketer's place and they got a lot of books, they're copywriters. They understand it. The unfortunate truth about a lot of these books, though, is that we will acquire these books, we will read these books, we will wax philosophic about the core frameworks and concepts in these books. We will talk about headline formulas. Oh, they laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play ... how we can use this and all of these things. Here's the problem. Most copywriters do way too damn much reading and not enough writing. A lot of reading, not a lot of writing. And so part of what we're wanting to accomplish in this accelerator is to get you to actually write. So when we go through, I mean, Mark, you asked the question, like, what are they going to have at the end? You will have written. I mean, which I think is the most powerful thing in the world. You will have written, which means, wait for it, you're a writer. I think that's so incredibly important. What you will have at the end is writerdom, which many of you want to be copywriters. Many people call themselves copywriters. They ain't, because they don't. And so much of what we're going to do, and I'm going to use this again as an opportunity for another shameless plug. I did it. Oh, sorry, wrong button. I did this in the beginning. I talked about how what we're doing is this. We're doing this. Where's my mouse? There it is. We have this Become an Elite Six-Figure Copywriter Accelerator that's kicking off. Those of you who showed up a little bit late and missed my prolonged explanation about this, and let's drop the link back in, because again, if you are on, if you go ahead and sign up before this timer hits 0, not only do you save, again, this is the page that will be live tomorrow. You can see tomorrow it will be $9.95. What it is today is $7.95. And we also have this today only bonus, since so many people are asking about AI. We knew you would, so we're just going to give you our course on how to be an AI powered marketer. So you're just going to get that. Just this one, program is the value of essentially this one. So if that's all you got, hey, you're welcome. There is a second bonus that I got permission to add. Matt Swan mentioned that one of his favorite books is Jon Benson's Open Click Buy. Here, I'll come off of. You want to hold that up there, Matt?
This one here. I don't know if you can see it now. There you go.
There you go. So this is kind of our go-to for all things email copywriting. And Jon was kind enough to give us permission for everybody who invests in this training today. He's going to give you a PDF of that book as well. We'll make sure that we get that. So it's not on here because I literally got permission to plug that 5 minutes before. But so there's good bonuses, good reasons to sign up now. Here's the best reason of all. As you go through these different sessions, right? I'm going to have you actually map out who your ideal client is. Christine, you mentioned Donald Miller's book, Story Brand. My favorite chapter in that book was actually one that I co-wrote with Don on how do you create, and I say that kind of half jokingly, but on the before and after grid, right? So understanding the before state of your ideal client and the after state, that's a big important aspect. So many people sit down to write copy. They don't even know who they're talking to or the transformation that they're looking to describe. So you will have this, right? You will have this mapped. You will have a document. There you go. It's done. Yeah, we're talking about the use of AI, but when we get into it, you will have email copy. You will have ad copy. You will have sales video copy. You will have social media copy. You will have copy when this is done. And I think that's the most powerful thing of all, because it's not just about giving you all the tools and tactics and techniques. The powerful thing about this is that you will write, which means you will be a writer, which means you'll be a copywriter. You'll have every reason to either turn this copy into money in your own business, turn this copy into money for the companies that you work with and your clients so that they pay you more, or just add it to your portfolio so that you can go out there and secure more clients, whether you're a freelancer or consultant. So I love all of the books that we mentioned. Build a big library. But library does not make you a copywriter. Writing copy makes you a copywriter. We're going to write some freaking copy together. So there you go.
Well, I think that's a huge point. And actually, anybody who's read a lot of copywriting books will probably notice that most of them say, write a page a day. I got up in the morning and I wrote a page. Even if I have nothing to write, I write a page. And then over time, 365 pages in a year, you're going to learn how to write a lot better. But it doesn't happen just by reading a bunch of books about it or doing anything other than actually sitting down and writing, which is scary. But like Jon said, we could just use AI to get the process started. Then you just keep going. So let's see. I think we have the time for one or a couple more questions. We'll keep going until everybody's super bored with copywriting, which isn't going to happen. Let's see. Is copywriting relevant to B2B? Which one of you want to talk about that? B2B versus B2C. A lot of B2B people are, I don't need it. I talk to them on the phone. So
it's all a stage, y'all. Human to human.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
I've never once sold to a business. Not once. I've always sold to people who worked at those companies. It's copy. Somebody else feel free to add in, but
I just like to say it out loud because it's like we all know it. Yeah, of course it's going to work in B2B, but it's that I think it's the distinction. Actually, it says a lot about the writer of the question, where you're like, okay, I think the B2B is completely different than the B2C, and how is copy different in those two circumstances? Maybe.
I think John, did you have something to chime in there?
Just this one mantra that I go through with everybody that works for me is everything that you write is only written to one person. You do not have a list. You could have a quote unquote list of 1 million people. You're only writing to one. You're not writing to a list. In B2B, you're not writing to a business. You're writing to a person. And if you take it from that approach, that changes the tone, that changes the tenor of how you approach this entire topic. And you have to understand human persuasion, whether you're selling to a business, as Ryan said, and never sold to a business before, or you're doing what you're really doing, which is talking to another person.
Yeah. And I'll chime in there really quick. What's interesting, you take it back to what Ryan started with this talking about, with copywriting kind of being that one-to-many selling versus sales being one-to-one a lot of time. And when you look at B2B sales, what is so much of that goal there is selling to that one person that now becomes a stakeholder in that business that's now going to go push to whatever. Let's say you're working in a large business, they need 5 approvals to push through your, $100,000 enterprise level contract. That salesman is selling that person and now go be the person that's going to sell to everybody else they have to on why they need to implement that solution that you've sold them on. We're doing the same thing as copywriting. It's still one person. We're selling that one person who now is the one that's going to go push to the people that they have to get, approval from in their decision-making process, or whoever else has to be involved. They're now going to be your champion to get that pushed through. So again, it's further in the point, but it is just a human at the end of the day. And that's what we have to sell to.
Well, I will say this too, that it won't just improve with your writing either. If you understand copywriting and the principles of persuasion, your talk will get, speaking will get better, giving speeches will get better, presentations, writing emails, like literally every aspect of communication in regards to business will improve if you just get a few of these principles, much less take an entire course and really take it seriously and practice writing the whole time. Everything you do will improve. I'll go so far as to say it'll improve your personal relationships, because you'll be able to communicate more effectively how you're feeling and how you understand what other people are saying. So yeah, it's like as much self-help as it is a business journey. With that said,
hey Mark, real quick.
Yeah.
I actually saw a question that I want to address really quick while everybody's on here, because I think it's a great question. Brandon had asked, how do you then get work as a copywriter? And he brings up a good point. Brandon, you're ahead of the game because it's a bonus session that we're going to be releasing and advertising during the launch. So ta-da, look at that secret. But no, at the end, we're actually going to throw in a bonus session, session number 10, that will be announced here shortly. But that's literally going to be on how to package, price, and sell your copywriting services. So you're ahead of the game. You already guessed it. That'll be released during the launch, but that's how. That's how you get work. We're gonna show you how to do it. We're gonna have a system behind it. That'll be our bonus session number 10 on how to do that.
Nice, love it. And that kind of goes with the question I was about to ask, which you pretty much answered, but I'll say it anyways. With all the marketing knowledge you offer as a copywriter, is it enough to say that you're a copywriter anymore? It starts to feel like consulting and social media managing and strategizing sometimes, versus saying I'm a copywriter.
I mean, I think it depends on knowing your market and knowing your audience.
Yeah.
If you understand, if you know who you're going after, like if somebody says to me, I'm a copywriter, I go, giddy up, let's talk. I know what that means. And there are in plenty of circles where if you say you're a copywriter, you're one of the higher status people in that room. Now, in some rooms, maybe they don't have that same appreciation as a copywriter. We'll talk about this. Understanding how to name and frame what it is that you do is important. I know plenty of people who, I do YouTube script writing. Guess what? That's copy, right? So all of this is going to depend on and again, the funny part is, how do you go and get more clients? How do you, position yourself? It's the same stuff that we're going to talk about in the program. You just do it for you and your business. Who are my ideal client? What is the thing that they want? It's all the same stuff. But I believe today, we're early, but I believe that copywriting is experiencing a tremendous renaissance. And I think it's like it was, and John, you'll remember this. There was a time when the coolest thing in the world you could be in like the early to mid 2000s was a copywriter, right? This is when we're all running around, trying to get our pictures taken with Gary Halbert, rest in peace, and Dan Kennedy, all these names that, Gary Bensavenga, like all these names that nobody today knows who they are, but you talk to the people who have the big companies today, they all know who these people are. Oh, yeah. Right? John Carlton, like we know who these people are. Then that kind of faded out. It kind of went away. It sort of died a little bit. Why? Because what did the game become? And what has the game been for, I would say, the last at least 15 years? Which means if you've only been in marketing in the last decade or so, you don't quite know what we're about to experience, but it's coming. It's why it pays to be old. I've been doing this for a little while. For the last 15 years, the way you won at marketing was to be the best at amplification. The amplifiers won the day. If you knew how the latest SEO trick that could get your page to rank, you won. If you knew and truly understood Facebook's ad engine and how to do interest-based targeting and all this stuff, you won. Guess what? All that's gone away now. iOS 14, you're freaking welcome, right? If you knew how to modify and how to really understand the YouTube algorithm or the TikTok algorithm or the Instagram algorithm, you won. You won by understanding the algorithm. You won by understanding amplification. That was the difference maker. Y'all, all that has been leveled. The playing field has been like, it's here. Now, what is going to win? The message. When everybody knows how to amplify, when amplification is known to all and done by all, amplification is no longer the advantage. What is the advantage? It's the message. So all that to say, I think copywriters are about to become, they've always been the highest paid, even during this, because the people who knew, they're about to become the most respected class of marketers once again. And I'm, as a copywriter, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I completely agree. And I think, even when we're talking about AI, and I've said this a lot of places, where I think the best AI utilizers are actually going to be writers, because they know how to convey information and instruct properly and get what they want out of the questions. And if you don't know copywriting, or you don't know persuasion, or all these different kind of principles of writing, then you're not going to be able to utilize AI to the fullest. And that's why, you need copywriting. Now, with that said, we have had a few questions along this vein, which is, do you have to have a minimum level of copywriting skills, or even just writing skills in general, in order to find this course useful?
Can I chime in there, Mark?
Yeah.
I want to share just a quick story that I've experienced. And one thing I'll say about it, do you have to have it? I believe the answer to that is no. Do you need to have work ethic? Yeah. You have to want it. You have to want it. Like you just do. That is what it is. But what I'll say about that is, before working here with DigitalMarketer, scalable companies, I was at a previous company where I was running the marketing there, and I had the opportunity to help someone actually not get fired. Our head of customer service was about to get fired for lack of performance, but he truly wanted to. He really was interested in copywriting what I knew about it, and he wanted to get into it. And so I asked the owner at the time for 6 weeks of his time. Give him 6 weeks before you let him go. Like, he knew he was on a time clock. Give me 6 weeks with him and let me see if he's got some chops. He really wants to do this. And he put the work in. And I didn't have Jon Benson and Billy Broaz and Christine Marie and all of that stuff there teaching him. It was me and him. He read the books. He put in the time. He did the work. He wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. We did cover reviews. We did it all over 6 weeks' time. And he started converting copy in 6 weeks. And he now, to this day, is the head of marketing there at that company, which is an 8-figure supplement company. True story. I mean, so it depends on what you put into it. Just like anything else in life, you get out of what you put into it. Put in work. There's no magic pill, but the skills are there. You're going to learn it.
Yeah, I think that's and not just, doing it for 6 weeks, but even if you did it for 5 minutes a day, you'd be amazed at literally any skill that you just try to do consistently. Like, it just compounds over time. And then, and honestly, most people don't write that much. So in order to be better than most people, you could literally just do 5, 10, 15 minutes a day of any writing, and you'll be better than the majority of people. So if that's your concern, you'll definitely be so much better. Now I think we're out of time. So do we want to put the link back in? I think this is going to be a fantastic event. We've been doing a lot of these live cohorts, and the results that a lot of people get are astounding. And I think this is the first copywriting one we've ever done. I think we have one of the best teams we've ever put together for one of these cohorts. And the subjects we're going to cover could literally allow you to build any marketing campaign that you want, at least in terms of copy and being able to communicate the information that you want to. This is it. This will do sounding things for your career.
And I'll tell you the frame that we approached designing this program, just so you all know. I'm very fortunate, get the opportunity to own and to help operate and to help drive multiple different companies in our portfolio. So across the board, if you look at all the different companies that are in our broader portfolio group, it did over $200 million in revenue over the last 12 months. Okay, so that's all the different companies in our portfolio that we've got. I don't say that to impress you. I say that so that you know that within that portfolio, guess what we got? A lot of stinking marketers. And guess what we want all of them to be better at? Copywriting. So the reason we are doing this is selfishly, we want to put together the ultimate copywriting training program for our own in-house marketers and copywriters. Right? That's the way we do everything at Digital Marketer. Like, we want our people to get really good at this. Let's build a program to train our internal team. And then while we're doing it, heck, why not share it with others? That has been the ethos of Digital Marketer, going back to when it was literally just me by myself working out of a spare bedroom. I want to know this stuff. Why not let other people come along for the ride? So we're doing this thing, and I'm fortunate that I get to know and hang out and be on a, close first name, text you and call in favors to these people who are amazing and they're brilliant, but we wanted to put together a team of people who we really respect. You got a chance to see 3 of them. There's even more that couldn't make it, or we just felt like it was a lot of voices and ideas, but we put together the dream team of copywriters in their specific areas and in their specific fields to train our people. So if you want your people, or you, because the only other way you get access to this is if you worked here. So if you want our people or you to go through the exact same training, again, the link is in there, digitalmarketer.com. The short link is /copy. I will say again, going back to the page, this is what it looks like right now. If you scroll down to the bottom, not only can you get all the details and information and things like that, who's in it except for me? They forgot my picture. Thanks, team. But when you get down to the bottom, you'll see right now, it says that it is $7.95, but a couple of bonuses that will not be here once this timer hits 0. The AI-powered marketer accelerator. This bonus, if you wait until this timer hits 0, this bonus will not be there. This price will not be $7.95. I will show you what the page will look like tomorrow when this thing goes live. It will look like this. Notice that it is $9.95. Notice again that it stops at bonus number 5. There is no bonus number 6, and this is kind of your big boy. So if you're even a little bit on the fence, not to be weird, but you shouldn't be. This is definitely something that you should do and you should sign up for. I mentioned before that I believe the difference between persuasion and manipulation is intent. It is my sincere desire, and I've been transparent about this from moment one. When we first logged on, I was like, look, everybody, here's what we're doing. We're doing this thing that you should sign up for, and we're doing this AMA so that you can see that we actually know what we're talking about. I don't want to manipulate you to do something that you shouldn't do. I want to persuade you to do something that you should, because my intent for you is good. And I know the intent of everybody who is here is the same. There is not a single better skill that you can learn as a marketer than copywriting. It will only make you better at everything that you do. And this is whether you're working as a marketer at a company, you're a head of you want to be a head of marketing like Matt Swan and be that kind of entrepreneurial marketer within the company. This is going to allow you to accomplish that. It's going to allow you to get paid a whole heck of a lot more than your ordinary marketer. If you want to kickstart your own agency, consultancy, freelance, you got to know copy. You just do. And if you want to launch your own company, the first thing you're going to need to do is produce a message that gets amplified. All that's copywriting. And that's why I can say with absolute confidence that wherever you are, this is something that you need. And that sounds like a bold statement, and I don't say it always, but in this case, I don't care how beginner, intermediate, or advanced you are. I don't care if you're working at a company as a marketer, if you want to work at a company as a marketer and break into the industry, if you're an agency, consultancy, side hustle, launching your own business. This is so foundational, it is so core, that literally every single 100, 200 of you who are on today should sign up for this thing. You just should. We have spots for 100. They will absolutely sell out. So if you do go ahead and sign up today, not only do you get the discount, not only do you get the bonuses, but you ensure that you are actually in. So with that said, Matt, Mark, team, crew, anything else that we need to say before we bounce? I know we said we'd be 90 minutes and we're right on it.
I think other than a huge thank you to Jon, to Billy, to Christine for being on here today. That was incredible. It's so fantastic to hear all of y'all's insights. That was really fantastic. It's just fun to hang out in a room of copywriters. You don't get to do that very often. It's great that Ryan, Rich, and I will all hang out, get to geek out here in the office. But man, it's nice to hang out with some fellow copywriters as well. So I'm looking forward to doing that for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Thank Jon. Thanks, Billy, Christine. I think Christine had to hop, but thanks to everybody. And for those of you who are in, we'll be doing this again next week. We're going to be rocking on together. It's going to be a whole lot more of this. So with that said, thanks to everybody who got in. For those of you who didn't, get signed up, and we'll be seeing you in the Copywriting Mastery Accelerator. Thanks all.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.